Hello and welcome. Tonight, Supreme Court strikes out suit filed by 36 state governors seeking to compel the federal government to account for its earnings from the sale of liquefied natural gas liquids and related products since 1999. The Federal High Court orders that the 109 foreigners linked to high-level cybercrimes be remanded in Kuje and Suleja correctional facilities until the next adjourned date. And the federal government attributes the arrest of Simon Ekpa, the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic, government in exile, to sustain diplomatic pressure on Finland by Nigeria.
On business news tonight, National Insurance Commission and the Nigerian Data Protection Commission partner to strengthen data protection in the country's insurance sector.
On sports news tonight, Egypt's Marseille ladies beat Edo Queens 4-3 on penalties to win the bronze medal match at the CAF Women's Champions League in Morocco.
From the nation's capital, the National Population Commission intensify efforts to reduce Nigeria's under-5 mortality rate through the 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy Study.
And in international news from London, a second Australian teenager has died of suspected methanol poisoning, bringing to 6 the number of foreign tourists who have died after apparently drinking tainted alcohol in Laos.
We begin from the highest court in the land, and the Supreme Court has struck out a suit by the 36 state governments seeking, among others, to compel the federal government to account for its earnings from the sale of liquefied natural gas liquids, and related products since 1999. In a unanimous judgment, a 7-member panel of the court held that the court lacked the original jurisdiction to hear and determine the suit, which has the Attorney General of the Federation as sole defendant. In the lead judgment, Justice Mohammed Garba upheld the preliminary objection raised against the suit by the AGF and held that the subject of the case had been dealt with by the Supreme Court in its earlier decision in the case of the Attorney General of Bauchi State against the AGF. Justice Garba agreed with the defendant that the suit amounted to an attempt to relitigate issues already decided by the Supreme Court, which relates to the revenues accruable to the government of the Federation, which are payable into the Federation account. The judge then proceeded to strike out the suit for want of jurisdiction to hear the case as constituted. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has nullified the National Lottery Act 2005 enacted by the National Assembly. In a unanimous judgment, a 7-member of the Apex Court, read by Justice Mohammed Idris, held that the National Assembly lacked the powers to legislate on issues relating to lottery and games of chance. The court held that such powers only reside with the state houses of assembly, which possess exclusive jurisdiction over lottery and games of chance. Justice Idris ordered that the National Lottery Act 2005 should no longer be enforced in all states except the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT, in respect of which the National Assembly is empowered to make laws. The judgment was on the suit filed back in 2008 by Lagos and some other states. Staying with the courts, and the Federal High Court Abuja has ordered that the 109 foreigners linked to high-level cybercrimes, hacking and activities threatening national security be remanded in the Kuje and Suleja correctional facilities till the next adjourned date. The presiding judge, Justice Ekirete Akpan, made the order based on the request by the counsel for the defendants on the grounds that the police facility where they are being kept wasn't conducive for the number of suspects. The arraignment of the suspects was also stalled due to issues of misrepresentation of names of the suspects on the charge sheet and also issues of counsel representation. The counsel to some of the defendants, Ogu Onoja, told the court that there was need to have interpreters who will be present in court during proceedings for the sake of those who do not understand spoken English. After listening to the submission of the lawyers in the suit, the trial judge adjourned the case to November the 29th for arraignment.
most of them were arrested without their documents. And then there is issue of interpretation, and the language issue is there. So we are come to our notice that some of them, the names on the charge sheet does not reflect their travel document. So we ask the court that it is very important for the proper name to be on the charge sheet, so that at the end of the day, for the interest of the defendant also, they'll be able to come out when they demand their travel document. And for us not to delay trial by raising unnecessary objection to the charge. So the court has joined for that purpose. And then also want to tidy up something like the issue of representation, because we noticed that there are other lawyers representing other claims, and we all decided that we should lead. So by the next adjourned date, we'll be able to sort out the issue of representation. As you know, there's an allegation against them. They are innocent, and we thank the court this morning for the attitude, and then also the prosecutor for them. And then court has now decided that because the facility at the Cyber Crime Center is not enough to house all the 109 defendants, court gave an order, and we had no objection for them to be moved to correctional center in Kuje and Suleja for the men and female respectively.
River State Governor Senator Uba has urged the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja to set aside the judgments that barred the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing monthly allocations to River State. Governor Uba's counsel, Yusuf Ali, asked the three-member panel of the Appellate Court, led by Justice Hama Barka, to vacate the High Court order which he maintained was issued in bad faith. He also asked the appeal court to allow his appeal marked and nullify adverse orders that Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Federal High Court made against the state in the judgment she delivered on October the 30th. Governor Uba's plea came on the day the Justice Barka-led panel consolidated 5 other appeals that arose from the said judgment of the High Court. Away from the courts and following the arrest of the pro-Biafran agitator in Finland, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has confirmed the arrest of Mr. Simon Ekpa, a prominent leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, by the Finnish authorities. A statement issued by the acting spokesperson of the ministry, Kimiebi Ebienfa, confirmed that Mr. Ekpa was arrested on charges of inciting terrorism and promoting violence. Mr. Ebienfa notes that the arrest of Mr. Ekpa follows sustained diplomatic pressure by the Nigerian government on Finland to take action against his activities linked to violence and instability in the southeast region of Nigeria. The statement further explains that the request for action featured during high-level engagements between the two countries. The spokesman describes the arrest of Simon Ekpa as a significant development in tackling the activities of IPOB and neutralizing the influence of transnational actors and their impact on national security. Mr. Ekpa, a Finnish politician and Biafran political activist, was reported to have in 2022 declared activation of Biafran government in exile and himself leader in 2023 while in exile. A talk in security, the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badr Abubakar, says the federal government is determined to end all forms of insecurity in the southeast and across the country. Mr. Abubakar made this known in Enugu State while addressing heads of security agencies and security stakeholders within the southeast. He noted that President Bola Tinubu's administration had done tremendously well in the past 1 year in the fight against insecurity.
Minister of Defense Badaru Abubakar arrives the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army in Enugu State for the heads of security agencies and stakeholders engagement. He enters a closed-door meeting with senior officers of the Nigerian Army before proceeding to the Air Force Base, where traditional rulers, religious leaders, youths, and heads of other security agencies are already seated. Before going in for a closed-door meeting with the stakeholders, the minister urged them to speak freely to enable the government stamp out insecurity in the region.
All this insecurity must stop. We must find a lasting solution to it, and the president is committed and determined to end insecurity in this country. So I urge you to discuss openly and freely and provide advice and solution, and see us as your partners in progress.
After the long interaction, the participants share their impressions with high optimism.
I am part of this meeting. I can tell you that it's very instructive. It has brought out the best of us because we openly spoke to ourselves, spoke to the minister. He heard us, and I'm very sure some of the areas we touched about, he's going to respond to it effectively. I want to say, without any out of doubt, that the issue of security or insecurity in the Southeast appear to be what social media is touting about.
We lend our voices to ending insecurity. It was wonderful. I believe that ending insecurity is what collaboration and synergy will help. It is important for all of us to come together and unite against it. If we unite against insecurity, believe you me, insecurity will be a thing of the past in Enugu State, in Nigeria as a whole.
For the General Officer commanding 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Hassan Dada, the Nigerian Army will put in place all recommended robust strategies to ensure peace and safety in the Southeast.
We've started the non-kinetic operations, and the non-kinetic is about the people, winning the hearts and minds of the people. We have a very robust interaction. The youth leaders were here, the traditional rulers were here, the civil society organizations were here. We have the women's society that are well represented. All the security agencies are also here. So there is no doubt with this kind of synergy, with kind of the discussion that come up, we work on it, and I can tell you that insecurity in Southeast Nigeria will be still on the path as soon as possible.
As Yuletide season approaches, the people will want the security agencies to do their best to ensure a safe and seamless celebration.
Indeed, it's been a busy time for the Minister of Defense, this time in his visit in Imo State, where he has assured the people of the Southeast, especially those planning to come home for the Yuletide, of their safety and security during the upcoming festive season. Mr. Mohammed Badr Abubakar, accompanied by the General Officer commanding 82 Division, Major General Hassan Dada, disclosed this at the Government House in Warri when they met with the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodimma. The minister emphasized that the military, in collaboration with the federal government, has put adequate measures in place to ensure a crime-free and secure environment for those planning to return home.
We had meeting with his support in Enugu with all the security stakeholders. That is the youth group, the chiefs, and the CSOs, all from the Southeast. And we have robust discussions, and they have contributed very well on how we can improve security in the Southeast. Let them relax and come over. Our team here are really on alert, and they will do their best to protect life and property during those festivities and after.
Meanwhile, Governor Uzodimma commended the Defense Minister and the military for their efforts in maintaining security in the region. He also urged residents and visitors to cooperate with the security agencies to ensure a peaceful holiday season.
The thing about insurgency, kidnapping, and all manner of criminalities in the Southeast will soon become a thing of the past. As for the Yuletide, our people of the security agencies here, they are prepared and are well equipped. Unfortunately, in the past, we've had some casualties here and there, but they've risen to the occasion, and we'll continue to support them to ensure our people go about their businesses without fear of any molestation. So I want to commend the Minister of Defense, commend the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the police, and other security agencies for the support they've given to us. What confronted us is better imagined than discussed. But to the glory of God, I think we've conquered.
In part two, after the break, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, says the National Health Act of 2014 envisioned the eventual financial autonomy for local governments and defined their role in Nigeria's health sector transformation process. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Supreme Court strikes out suit filed by 36 state governments seeking to compel the federal government to account for its earnings from the sale of liquefied natural gas liquids and related products since 1999. Federal High Court orders that 109 foreigners linked to high-level cybercrimes be remanded in Kuje and Suleja correctional facilities until the next adjourned date. And federal government attributes the arrest of Simon Ekpa, the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile, to sustained diplomatic pressure on Finland by Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking confirmation of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede's appointment as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. According to the statement from the presidency, the letter, which was sent today, seeks Lieutenant General Oluyede's confirmation in accordance with the provision of Section 2182 of the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 18.1 of the Armed Forces Act. President Tinubu appointed Lieutenant General Oluyede as the acting Chief of Army Staff on October the 30th, following the illness of Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, who died on November the 5th. According to the statement, President Tinubu is confident about the leadership qualities, professional integrity, and experience of Lieutenant General Oluyede to lead and inspire the Army to ensure national security and stability. He is married and has 3 children. Meanwhile, outside our shores, President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitments to attracting local and international investments in Nigeria's livestock sector. President Bola Tinubu made this known in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, during the signing of a letter of intent between the Nigerian government and JBS Group SA, one of the world's largest meat processing companies. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, reports.
Arriving for the meeting, the president was accompanied by Niger State Governor Umar Bago, key ministers and other officials. Highlighting the $2.5 billion potential of Nigeria's livestock industry, he assured JBS executives of favorable returns on their investment.
Food security is extremely important as we talk right now. Clash between farmers and migrating cow shoulders and all of that has caused some life and bloodshed. So when there is a modern civilized way to solve those problems and even bring a successful economy out of it.
JBS founder and president Wesley Baptista expressed enthusiasm about expanding their footprint in Nigeria and Africa.
We are glad to work with you, with Nigeria, to explore and to work together to develop the livestock industry there. We think it's a great opportunity for, we build a business in Nigeria for, the Nigerians, but also for Africa. Nigeria definitely can, be the center of, supplying protein to many different countries in Africa.
The letter of intent was signed by the Minister of Livestock Development and a JBS representative. The Minister of Livestock Development explained the significance of the agreement, noting that JBS will soon begin feasibility studies in Nigeria.
They are going to be involved in beef processing, adopting the model of outgrower and supplier scheme. That is to say that a number of Nigerians will be put into the loop, will be given the best breed to fatten, and they make them available to these companies to buy off at the premium. This is the model that is happening here, and we believe it is the model we are going to adopt so that it can create a large number of farmers who are going to be part of this scheme for both poultry, piggery, and beef.
The partnership is expected to boost Nigeria's livestock industry and contribute to the administration's food security agenda. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
So let's head to the nation's capital now, where Terry Kumi is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Terry. Over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. Efforts to resolve violent conflicts between farming communities and herdsmen in Benue State are yielding positive results as military operations under Operation Wellstroke intensify. Widows of nomadic herders have joined the call for an end to the killings, which they say have claimed the lives of many of their husbands.
The non-kinetic approach deployed by Operation Wellstroke is fostering peace in conflict-prone areas, with progress being recorded in the Agatu region. This is a follow-up peace meeting held in Makadi, which was convened by the Brigadier General Louis Lepdong, Force Commander of Operation Wellstroke, to review the implementation of the Peace Accord of 2024 between the Agatu leaders and Mietiala representatives. The meeting brought together leaders of the Mietiala Cattle Breeders Association in Benue, led by the chairman Ardo Risku Mohammed, as well as officials of the Benue state government. The discussions included a closed-door technical session focused on sustainable solutions to the conflict.
This meeting is a follow-up of the series of meetings that we have been having to bring peace to Nigeria and to bring peace to Benue in particular. We've had similar meetings on Agatu. And as you can see, we already have peace returning back to Agatu in full swing. This one, we now want to extend this series of meetings to other regions.
I want to take you back to Agatu. The interventions we're having in Agatu have proven that it's possible to achieve peace with peace-building engagements. Because today, the Fulanis themselves are celebrating the fact that Agatu is returning back to peace.
The herdsmen's representatives, including Hawa Usman, lamented the loss of lives and pledged support for all peace initiatives aimed at ending the violence.
If we stand up, our men stand up, maybe we get peace in our Benue. Because some of us here, our husband died. We hold the children. Who is controlling the children? We are the women.
Wanda yana cikin Benue in Allah da zamu hada kai da jami'an tsaro kuma zai bar.
We are see that we are cooperate with the government and security agency. All those criminals we are apprehended.
The collaboration between the Benue state government and Operation Wellstroke to implement the non-kinetic approach has seen a significant reduction in violence in Agatu local government area, with peace steadily returning since the agreement was brokered in October 2024.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, has emphasized that the National Health Act of 2014 envisioned financial autonomy for local governments and outlined their crucial role in transforming Nigeria's health sector, particularly in the development of primary health care. Professor Pate highlighted these provisions while addressing the national president and members of the Association of Local Government of Nigeria at the Algon Primary Health Care Revitalization Stakeholders Forum, held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital.
Our women, our children, many of them lose their lives from preventable causes. And our task, our mission, is to change that. That is a task that is the heart of the President's vision to put health and well-being of Nigerian people at the center of his renewed hope agenda. That's the mission that we in the Federal Ministry of Health and our colleagues were mandated to drive. So the local government authorities are embedded within that vision in the National Health Act. And I urge all of us to go back and study that, because it's as if in health sector we're far ahead of the curve and we're able to anticipate the Supreme Court decision because we're well prepared, understanding that to change the health and well-being of Nigerians requires all of us working closely together.
Have been partnering with the states to coordinate activities of primary health care across the 774 local government areas. But with these landmark judgment that have granted full financial autonomy to the 774 local government across the federation, I believe the local government are poised to take their rightful position and pride of place in taking leadership particularly affects their primary responsibilities of providing basic primary education and primary healthcare services to the grassroots.
The National Population Commission is intensifying efforts to reduce Nigeria's under-5 mortality rate through the 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy Study, which seeks to identify the causes of child and maternal deaths. Chairman of the Commission, Mr. Nasir Kwara, made the clarification during a press briefing on the outcome of the 2024 Verbal and Social Autopsy VASA study in Abuja. The study is a follow-up to the 2023-2024 Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey, focusing on households where child and maternal deaths were recorded. Mr. Kwara emphasized the urgency of tackling the public health crisis posed by child and maternal mortality. The study, which began on November the 4th and will run until December the 15th, 2024, aims to collect data on deaths in children under 5 and women of reproductive age.
There's no gainsaying the fact that under 5 mortality in Nigeria is high at 110 deaths per 1,000 births, according to the 2023-2024 Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey. What needs stating unequivocally is that every available tool must be deployed to combat and curb this challenge in our society. This, therefore, brings us to the imperatives of generating reliable data on the causes and determinants of neonatal deaths, infant deaths, as well as child mortality in Nigeria. I am very optimistic that the data will be used by policymakers as well as planners to design and implement programs that will go a long way in reducing neonatal, child, and maternal mortality to the barest minimum in Nigeria.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to youth empowerment as the foundation of Nigeria's development strategy and Africa's broader integration goals. Speaking during the 2024 Youth Legacy Conference at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Vice President Shettima noted that the youths are the fulcrum of President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, with their prominent role in driving national progress. VP Shettima, who was represented by Deputy Chief of Staff to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadijia, said there is no nation that can prosper without investing in its youth.
Some of the goals we have set, both locally and globally, are unattainable without the active involvement and energy of our youth. This understanding informs our agenda to not only bring the youth closer, but also to ensure that they have a seat at every table where decisions that shape the life of this nation are made. The youth are a critical part of the function of this administration, and this reflects the conviction of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that there can be no future without preparing the youth to shoulder the burden of leadership. A functional nation is forged from a mix of generations, blending experience with fresh ideas and seasoned wisdom with youthful innovation. Our engagement with the youth and their appointments to oversee critical industries are not mere acts of moral obligation. They are economic necessities. Nigeria's youth are the ladder upon which we climb to lead innovations in technology, agriculture, and the creative industries. They are entrepreneurs breaking barriers, digital innovators connecting markets, and social activists fostering inclusion and equity. We're not gathered here simply to pay lip service to the youth. We are here to celebrate the friendship we share and to remind you that our doors remain open. This is your home, your government, and your moment to shape history.
Still ahead on the news at 10, National Insurance Commission and Nigerian Data Protection Commission partner to strengthen data protection in the country's insurance sector. That's on Business News, so stay with us.
Welcome back. Family, friends and sympathizers have paid their last respects to the senator representing Anambra South Senatorial Zone, the late Senator Uba, as he is laid to rest in his country home in the Benue North Local Government area of Anambra State. Commiserating with the bereaved family on behalf of the government and people of Anambra State, Governor Chukwuma Soludo says the death of Senator Uba remains a sad and shocking incident and urges all affected by the sudden demise of the senator to be strong and trust in God for consolation.
It's a sober atmosphere at the country home of Senator Uba at Umuanuka Upolu Newi in Nnewi North Local Government area of Anambra State, and the reason is not far-fetched. Sympathizers amongst whom are family members, friends, fellow lawmakers and community members are here in their numbers for the line-in-state ceremony of the former senator representing Anambra South Senatorial District. After the line-in-state, his remains moved to the parked St. Peter Claver Catholic Church, where the funeral mass is held. In his homily, His Eminence Peter Cardinal Ebere described Senator Uba as a man with a large heart who touched the lives of his people in more ways than one, adding that the takeaway from his passing is that life is transient.
The best way to live this life is by constantly reminding ourselves that one day we are going to die. Beginning with myself here, there is God. You seated, active in politics, in religion, in business, wherever there is God.
Prayers are then said for the peaceful repose of the departed and for the family he left behind.
God of mercy, grant pardon and eternal life to your servant Patrick, whom you have called from this life. Give consolation to those who mourn, and may we, who are still on earthly journey, always seek to please you.
Next, his son, Ifeanyi Uba Jr., appreciates those who stood by the family since his father's passing.
My father, our father, your friend, either business, political, humanitarian, or philanthropical, wherever he is and ever will be, you will ever be grateful for identifying with him both when he's alive and in death. God bless you all for coming and always shout to us after today to know how we are doing.
On his part, the governor of Anambra State, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, describes the demise of Senator Uba as a shock as he commiserates with the family on behalf of the government and people of Anambra State.
I consider him, and I've always treated and related with him as my younger brother. If you know him very well, when he wants something, when he needs something, he wouldn't take no for an answer. You know, he's a very boisterous, there is life, full of life. And that's the shock I had. And the shock I still continue to feel.
As the commendation service comes to an end, his body is taken back to his country home for the burial. Senator Patrick Ifeanyi Uba was born on September 3, 1971, and died in London, the United Kingdom, on July 27, 2024. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Uchenna Uba, 5 children, and numerous relations.
Zenith Bank PLC has rewarded 10 finalists with a total sum of 77.5 million naira who emerged after the end of a keenly contested Zekathon session at the 4th edition of the Zenith Tech Fair tagged Future Forward 4.0 here in Lagos. The one-day fair was an opportunity to showcase leading technology innovations that cut across different aspects of life, such as artificial intelligence, contactless payments, cybersecurity, cloud computing, fintech, data analytics, financial intelligence, and communication technologies. The event also featured exhibitions, fireside chats, and masterclasses with emphasis on the theme Embedded Finance, Cybersecurity, and Growth Imperatives, the Impact of AI.
It's a huge moment for Zenith Bank PLC as the bank's founder and chairman, Jim Ovia, the Group MD, Chief Executive Officer, Zenith Bank, Dame Dr. Adara Milji, and other top executives are playing host to government officials, leading local and global tech enthusiasts, business leaders, students, and many more. They're gathered here for the annual Zenith Bank Tech Fair 2024 tagged Future Forward 4.0. In her welcome address, the host, while appreciating the contributions of the bank's founder to Nigeria's economic development, applauds Lagos State and the CBN for supporting the bank's technology drive.
We are here today as a result of the vision and dedication of an icon, a man we call the Nostradamus of our time. 34 years ago, Dr. Jimovia incorporated technology as one of the tripod of Zenith Bank, which is people, technology, and service. And it has formed the bedrock of our operations today.
Next is a series of power-packed keynote presentations.
What's exciting about digital transformation is that it has the potential and ability to change, not just change, but revolutionize the way you work today.
Be very careful who you get advice from when it comes to artificial intelligence. Because like I said, it's very different to run some of these programs, and it's very different to watch videos about it.
For the governor of Lagos State, the partnership with the bank is a worthy match.
I see a great future of what we can use technology and AI for. We know we cannot give excuses again that, okay, so the developed nations, they had 30 years or they have 40 years or they have 50 years ahead of us. Technology is supposed to help us leapfrog and catch up with them. Anything that we're doing now, we need to be able to know that we're not just serving a local market, we actually want to serve the global market. And that's why I'm glad that Zenith Bank consistently for the past 4 years have kept up with the Z-Tech 4.0. I'm sure 5.0 is going to be bigger and better than what we have today.
With 10 finalists battling at this year's Zegathon, the most impactfully pitched ideas are rewarded.
Check as the official winner of the Zegathon Future Forward 4.0.
And then comes the announcement of a product launch.
We want everybody to go on board on Easy by Zenith Wallet.
The Zenith Bank Tech Fair offers a platform for tech exhibitions by leading IT companies, fintechs, and startups, and the bank says it will continue to utilize emerging technologies to enhance various aspects of human life.
Business News is up next with Will Ibong.
Thank you, Ayotunde. The National Insurance Commission, NICOM, and the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, NDPC, have entered a partnership agreement that will enhance data protection within the country's insurance sector. The agreement was finalized today through a memorandum of understanding designed to safeguard the personal data of insurance policy holders and promote trust in the industry. As part of the agreement, both agencies will collaborate on training programs to enhance awareness and skills in data protection among industry stakeholders. The MOU aims to address critical concerns around data privacy and ensure that the insurance sector complies with the global best practices in data management. This collaboration is expected to pave the way for a more secure and trustworthy insurance landscape in Nigeria, ensuring the protection of personal data while fostering the industry's growth. Now, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, says there is need to diversify government funding sources beyond debt financing. This comes as the Chamber expressed concerns over the federal government's plan to borrow $2.2 billion, warning of potential debt sustainability issues and impacts on infrastructure. In a statement released today, the Director General of the LCCI, Chinyere Amona, said the federal government could intensify efforts to expand the non-oil revenue base through tax reforms and promote export-driven sectors like agriculture and manufacturing. She also suggested other options, such as boosting exports, tourism, agriculture, and solid mineral resources, and called for privatization of certain state-owned enterprises and efficiency improvements of those remaining under government control. Now we check out the domestic stock market now, which recorded another pullback to end Friday's trading session in the red. Larry Williams has the details of today's activities.
Hello and welcome to the stock market report. Well, the TGIF trade ended in the red, continuing the negative close from yesterday as investors continue to try to buy low to sell high. 0.17%. That's a drop, losing that 98,000 level for the all-share index. Market cap sitting pretty at 59 trillion. Let's look at the sectoral performance now. See profit taking continued with sellers from the banking counter, 1.14% to the downside today to close. But the consumer goods are still seeing buy interest there. It's up 0.46%, and the oil and gas counter at 0.33%. Let's look at the tier 1 bankers now. We see it's red right there. Just GTCO managing to stay out of the red zone. FBNH, a big drop, 5.75%, and the Access Core and Zenith Bank following 0.45 and 0.43%. Well, on Tuesday, we'll find out what the Monetary Policy Committee have for the banks as regards lending rates and cash reserve ratio and others. Would it be a hold or a hike? We'll find out, but until then, cheers to the weekend.
And that wraps it up on business. It's back to Ayotunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you, Will. Russian President Vladimir Putin says Moscow will use new missiles again in combat conditions and that his country has a stockpile ready for use. Now, Russia's use of the Oreshnik missiles capped a week of escalation in the war that also saw Ukraine fire US and British missiles into Moscow for the first time. Here's Simon Hughes with other international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A second Australian teenager has died of suspected methanol poisoning, bringing to 6 the number of foreign tourists who have died after apparently drinking tainted alcohol in Laos. The family of Holly Bowles said it was with broken hearts that they confirmed her death, more than a week after she fell ill in the tourist town of Vang Vieng. She was being treated at this hospital in Bangkok. News reports and testimonies suggest the tourists may have consumed alcohol laced with methanol, a deadly substance often found in bootleg alcohol. Her friend Bianca Jones and British lawyer Simone White from South East London were confirmed to have died on Thursday. NATO says Russia's use of an experimental intermediate-range ballistic missile against Ukraine will not change the course of the conflict. The alliance's spokeswoman says it will not deter Ukraine's allies in NATO from supporting Kyiv. President Putin said Thursday's strike on the city of Dnipro was a response to Ukraine having used US and British-supplied long-range missiles against targets in Russia. Germany's foreign minister says that the best protection for peace in Europe was to support Ukraine's self-defense.
Because we have seen within these 1,000 days that the Russian president is not only attacking Ukraine, but that he is leading a hybrid warfare against other European actors, like my own countries. We are being faced with cyber attacks. We are suddenly finding parcels with explosive materials which are supposed to go on our airplanes. And we are faced, especially with our Eastern European partners, like the Baltic countries, Poland, our big neighbor from German side, directly at the border to Ukraine.
Mourners have gathered in a mosque in Parachinar in northwest Pakistan to prepare for funeral prayers for victims of a deadly attack in the region that killed at least 38 people. Shops and markets in the city remained closed as a somber mood gripped the community. Gunmen opened fire on passenger vehicles travelling from Parachinar, killing at least 38 people and wounding 29. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the incident. A new deal on climate change has just been proposed at COP29 as almost 200 countries meet in Baku, the Azerbaijani capital. The deal proposes wealthier countries give $250 billion per year by 2035 to developing nations to help tackle climate change. The figure is up from the $100 billion a year currently in place, but it's still much lower than the $1.3 trillion a year from public funds that poorer nations were after. It all comes on what's meant to be the final day of UN climate talks, but these policies tend to overrun, and there's been fierce criticism from African countries and environmental campaigners who say the proposal in the latest draft doesn't go far enough. Smoke has been seen billowing from an Icelandic volcano 2 days after it erupted. Here, a passenger on a flight over Iceland capturing the moment the volcano erupted during her journey. Lying dormant for 800 years, the geological systems in the Reykjanes Peninsula reactivated in 2021 and have since erupted at rising frequency, with the latest outbreak being the 6th so far in 2024. A 29-metre red spruce from the Alpine region of Ledro in northern Italy has been installed in St. Peter's Square ahead of the Christmas festive season. The Christmas tree, harvested sustainably from Trentino's forests, was chosen for its height and robust branches, meeting Vatican ecological standards, according to a statement by the Vatican city-state. Meanwhile, a Norwegian spruce, which is sent to London every year for Christmas, has been felled in a traditional ceremony. A tree is sent from Norway each year as a token of thanks for Britain's support during World War II. And in celebration of the Guinness World Records Day, the tallest woman and shortest woman had afternoon tea together in London. At 2 meters and 15 centimeters tall, Rumisa Gelgi, a researcher from Turkey, towered over Jyoti Amge, an actor from India who stands at just 62.8 centimeters. The height difference proved no barrier, though, with the pair enjoying each other's company at the meet-up at the Savoy Hotel in London. Started in 2004, Guinness World Records Day encourages people around the world to try and set new records. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Incredible. Well, it's time for sports news with Chris Illems. Chris?
Well, thank you for joining us. Nigeria Super Falcons will tackle 2 North African teams, Tunisia and Algeria, as well as Botswana in Group B of the 13th Women African Cup of Nations finals taking place in Morocco next summer. At the draw conducted this evening at the Technical Center of the Mohammed VI Football Complex in Salé outside Rabat, host nation Morocco, earlier slotted into Group A, will face Zambia, Senegal, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Title holders South Africa are in Group C and will square up to Ghana, Mali, and Tanzania in the 3-week 12 Nations final tournament taking place from July the 5th to the 26th. Then Egypt Massa ladies beat Nigeria's representative Edo Queens 4-3 on penalties to win the bronze medal match at the CAF Women's Champions League this evening. Edo Queens dominated most part of the game on both halves but failed to convert their chances. Massa women will receive $350,000 for winning the third place match, while Edo Queens will go home with $300,000. Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola says he would stay to the end of his contract with the English Premier League champions, even if they were relegated a day after he signed a 2-year extension that will keep him at the club until 2027. Guardiola, who joined City in 2016, has won 18 trophies with the club, including 6 Premier League titles and their first Champions League.
You have in my interviews here said the same, so not because now I extend the contract and pretend to be, oh, how nice is Pep. I said 6 months ago, 1 year ago, when everything, when all the clubs accuse us to have done something wrong. So what happened? You got relegated. I will be here. Next year we'll come up to the, I don't know, the position of the conference they're going to bring us. We're going to come up. We're going to come back to the Premier League. I knew it there and I feel it now. I said yesterday I felt I should, I should stay here, of course, because they want me for the obvious reasons, for the results.
U.S. President Joe Biden receives the Boston Celtics to the White House on Thursday to celebrate their 18th NBA championship. Biden congratulated the players and coaches and highlighted the team's ownership and values. In June, Boston secured its league record 18th title with a 106-88 blowout victory over the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Welcome to the White House. I didn't know any of these guys behind me, but they just showed up. I don't know where the hell they came from. 2024 NBA champions, the Bulls. You're Celtics, right? The Boston Celtics. Not just any champion, but the winningest franchise in league history, and now with a record 18 titles. That's the Celtic way of life. That's sport. Let me just say, all of you may not know this, but my Secret Service name is Celtic. For real.
That sports is back to you, Ayo.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The Supreme Court has struck out a suit filed by the 36 state governments seeking to compel the federal government to account for its earnings from the sale of liquefied natural gas liquids, and related products since 1999. The Federal High Court has ordered that 109 foreigners linked to high-level cybercrimes be remanded in the Kuje and Suleja correctional facilities until the next adjourned date. And the federal government has attributed the arrest of Simon Ekpa, the self-proclaimed Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic government in exile, to sustained diplomatic pressure on Finland by Nigeria. That's news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde. You have a good night.